The sample, quickly, that took part, these were some of the most powerful people in the world, including some from South Africa and other parts of the continent. The verticals that were studied included mining, manufacturing. Government was big, and this was for a reason. Why government was big? Because in the continent we have a very big public sector. Sectors that took part: chemical, oil, pharmaceuticals, and then these logistics companies also took part in the study. The profiles of the people that took part in the study were CEOs and directors. This report, by the way, will be out in July, free of charge, also as well for the fraternity to use, to try and change the mindset of the people that matter. Profiles of the directors that took part: technical engineers, chief procurement officers, manufacturing directors, chief strategy officers and in selected companies. And their professional affiliations, these were the institutions that they were part of. Most of these were both locally and internationally. The Institute of Directors South Africa, as well as some took part. I mentioned to you earlier what negotiation is all about. For me, it's about engaging for mutual benefit. South Africa achieved unprecedented success post-apartheid, the negotiations, because there was a common mutual purpose. This is what we wanted. So there was negotiations. It wasn't bargaining. That is what made South Africa so unique. Common purpose, let's negotiate for the common good. When you are doing bargaining, one has to win, one has to lose. And in most cases in procurement in Africa, it is about one winning and one losing, which is short-term thinking. Now, once you get into negotiations, you come up with an agreement. This is how we are going to engage. This is what I want from you. This is what you are going to get from me. In a lot of cases, unfortunately, this step is missing. We move straight from the negotiations and sometimes even bargaining into contracts. Hence, a lot of lawsuits. Recently, you realize that the government has paid $863 million to a company that was supposed to install meters. Did you read it, colleagues? Yes. Now, when I read it and did a bit of work, it was obvious. Procurement was not involved, one. And two, the specificities were not defined. Now, who is paying for that $863 million? Us. Now, that $863 million, guess how many homes it could have built? It's gone. And it is because they did not involve you. These are some of the challenges. Now, once you have an agreement, if there's a common purpose, we are all on the same page, you really do not need a piece of paper. In the olden days, when they bartered, was there any paper? No. I look at agreements. We understand each other. We know what we want. So why do you need a paper? We don't do that. We spend more time, the legal side, and then the numbers side. When you spend so much time on the legal side, what happens is you're ready, preparing to fight. I always say when you are going to marry, and they say, okay, sign this paper, it means you don't trust the woman. You know she's going to take you to the cleaners. That says the battle. And unfortunately, what has been happening now, when it comes to negotiations, guess who was leading the negotiations? The lawyers and the financiers, and not procurement, which is causing a lot of problems. Hence, I wrote that book and say, Mr. Brown or the chief procurement that needs to be at the core so that he could enlighten the politicians and the ministers. Without that, the damage is already done and it's too late. Once you've agreed, we don't live in a perfect world, colleagues. Once you've agreed, then you need a piece of paper. I've seen contracts where the specificities is about 10 pages, but the legal side, over 200 pages. It doesn't work because it means you are setting the groundwork for a battle. And the funny thing is, when it comes to a battle, the supplier and the customer, nobody wins because you all spend money. And the governments in Africa right now are spending more and more money than before. And in the end, they go to where? Arbitration. Because afterwards, once our good friends have made their money, they decide, okay, maybe you settle out of court. And we are paying for that.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.